Well, hello, folks. Pastor Rocky. Hope you're doing great today. Well, today, if we make it through and everything's okay, it's going to be day 75. And 75 days into this situation of rain and flooding and all that stuff. Well, actually, we haven't had any rain since the flood, so thank God for that. But we have had some, sort of wind and some rain a little bit, but not a lot. But I think about what's happened to us and where we are, and people have come to see us, help us, reach out to us. I mean, it's unbelievable, actually, when you think about all the things that God has allowed to happen because of this situation. I mean, it's just, here we are in the beautiful, beautiful mountains of western North Carolina. I mean, we have beautiful mountain peaks. We have beautiful foliage, which is now obviously over with, but if you think about it, if you go back and look at it from, say, October, second, third week of October, we have all those beautiful colors on the mountains and all that stuff, and people come. I mean, the industry in the mountains has millions and millions of dollars that come in just because people come to see the colors on the mountain. Now, the mountain has been, affected, obviously, by the storm. So when you think about that, you have to think about, what am I going to do about that? How am I going to help that? Well, we at our church, for 75 days today, now it'll be 75 days later today if I get in there and serve breakfast again. It's interesting because God has maneuvered and changed everything, and He's brought us actually national attention. I was yesterday for about, how long was it? Almost an hour on a TV program that I was interviewed about what's going on here. But we don't ask for that. I mean, I need you to understand that. We're not asking for somebody to come and interview us about anything. What we're trying to do is help the situation. And it reminds me of this passage in John chapter number 6 about Jesus feeding the 5,000. And we're around 50,000 meals now in 75 days. And we're thinking that, God has given the increase. He's provided the way. He's helped us in every situation. I mean, every one of them, God has come to pass. And in this situation, when Jesus, the Bible says, He looks at the crowd and He sees them and He has compassion. And in fact, there's a great company there. There's a lot of people there. Now, it's interesting to me that this story is told also in Matthew, it's told in Mark and in Luke, but John tells it just a little bit different. John says it this way: when Jesus then lifted up His eyes and saw the great company come unto Him, He said to Philip, "Whence shall we buy bread for these to eat?" Now, the other Gospels say that He had compassion on the crowd, and He did, of course. But John's more direct. John is saying, how am I going to solve this problem? And that's sort of where we are right now. How are we going to solve this problem? It's sort of an amazing thing because we have a church bus, which a lot of churches do. I think it holds probably, less than 30 people, but it's a bus that's well equipped to do whatever. But the garage that the bus sits in has been overtaken by heaters, propane tanks, cooking stoves, camping stoves, I mean. It's unbelievable. The whole place where the bus sits, the bus has been moved out. So we've taken that whole space and we put tarps up on the sides to block the wind out and the weather. And we have all kinds of stuff in there. And so when you think about it that way and you look around and you say, wow, because somebody pull up and say, and I love this, I really love this. They'll say, we don't have any heat. Can we get a heater? Can you get a heater? Yeah, you can get 2 heaters. You can get 3 heaters. It doesn't matter. Bring the propane over. Let's make sure these folks are going to be okay. It's so wonderful. And that's what happens here. Jesus sees this multitude of people, and they're in trouble, and they have need, and they're not fed. They're hungry. And the other disciples, the gospel, at least of Matthew, Mark, and Luke, says that they've been following Jesus for days, and they're weary, they're tired. And here is a situation where Jesus says, well, where's the food? Well, of course, Philip answers and said, well, there's not a lot here. We don't have a lot. Well, how much you got? And not much. He says it this way. I kind of got, 5 barley loaves and a couple of fish. But what's that among so many? Well, when you think about 600 plus bridges gone and railroad tracks in the river and houses slid into the river and things gone and we're trying to put campers in there and cars in there, and how much is that among so little? Well, the problem is it's not the little or the big, it's who has his hand on it. And it says in this passage that Andrew, Simon's brother, said, well, we got this kid here. He's got a sack lunch, and he's come out here to hear you. And Jesus said, make the people sit down. And they sat down in the grass, and he took the loaves, and he gave thanks. And I love that. Wow, what does that mean? That means that in disaster, you can have thanks unto God, even in major disaster. And it says that he did that. He gave thanks, and then he took the fish, and he did the same thing. He filled everybody's belly through the baskets that he filled, 12 baskets full, and he fed everybody. Why? Because he's God, yes, of course, but also because of thanksgiving. You see, you can do so much more if you thank God for it. Now, let's do it this way. Let's consider, if we may, some sort of situation that you've been a part of that has been a sort of a work in progress. Maybe you didn't have, I don't know, maybe like me as a kid coming up, you had no stability, and you found that in the Lord. So, with me, I just got blind faith. I just got blind faith. It doesn't matter what it is. I don't care how bad it is, how desperate it is. God can do it. I'm just telling you right now that God can do it. And I hope that maybe whatever situation you're in, whatever you're facing, I'm just hoping that maybe by chance, perhaps, that you might say, you know what? With God, all things are possible. And that's true. That's Matthew 19:26. Chapter 19, verse 26. With men, these things are impossible, but with God, all things are possible. So the people were fed. And there was things left over after they were being fed. Why? Because Jesus blessed it. And whatever God blesses, he uses. And whatever he uses, he multiplies. And whatever he multiplies, he shares. And that's where we are. So if you do that, God will bless you for it. God bless you. Love you. See you soon.